Welcome to the kingdom. I'm Chris, and this is Good Enough Gaming. In this video, I'm going to be painting this little goblin knight from Moonstone. Now, even if you don't play Moonstone, this is a great scheme for very, very simple yet good-looking armor. So we'll start off with a base coat of Leadbelcher. You don't have to be too neat about it. If you get a little on the face or something like that, not a big deal. We're going to be painting over that. And you'll probably need 2 coats, as always, because that black tends to shine through. But 2 coats of silver, and then it'll just be a wash and a highlight, and he'll be just about done. And for such a small model as this, it goes by pretty quick. Now, once that layer of the initial silver or the second layer is done, we'll give him a little coating of Nuln Oil. If you want him to look grimier or grungier, you could use Agrax Earthshade or Sepia or something like that. But I just wanted to darken the armor. I didn't want it to look dirty or grungy. We're just trying to create some shadow in the recessed areas of the armor. Once the shade is dry, we're now going to dry brush with Ironbreaker. You could use a brighter one like Runefang Steel, but I'm saving that for the blade of his sword so that all the metal doesn't blend together. Now, moving on to, believe it or not, one of the most, I think, the most important elements is the flesh. It seems to me whenever you paint skin, it just really makes the model suddenly come alive and not be a piece of plastic, but it actually looks like a little figure. So using a base coat of Wa Flesh, we're going to paint the green. And then I was waiting for that to dry because I had it a little bit too thinned out. I'm going to paint the feather on the top of his hat. We'll go for a nice bright yellow, something that's really got to stick out in contrast against all that shiny metal. Next, we'll go to the Retributor armor to paint the hilt of his sword. You could use a brass, you could use a copper, you could use a gold, but you definitely don't want to leave it as just iron. There's already, like I said, there's already enough metal on this guy. You've got to break up the details in some very, very stark color. And the last little detail, or rather the second last detail, is the cloth that's kind of sticking out from underneath the upper armor here. So we're going to start with the Steel Legion Drab. My eventual goal is to make this kind of look like a grimy undershirt. It's going to be the only part of him that's going to look a little bit dirty and used. So now that we've got all those block colors in, let's go back to the face, and very simple, using Warboss Green, just a touch of paint on the nose and on the cheeks, maybe a bit on the eyebrows, and go back and do a second coat just to make sure you get that really bright contrast. But that's about it. You don't even need a shade on it. His face is so small that those highlights will be plenty. As for the sword, we'll give that 1 coat of Runefang Steel, just so it's a little brighter and sticks out a little bit more from the rest of the armor. And now for coloring that the cloths coming from underneath his armor. I'm using the Tzimisce Desert literally because I bought it for 1 commission, used it, and never used it again. And I figured, well, I might as well use it here. It actually turns out to be a fairly decent layered yellow. It's not a bright yellow, but if you don't have like Averland Sunset, this could do as a supplement. So just hitting the raised edges of the cloth and leaving the dust in there, we'll pick out the highlights of the cloth, and I'm also going to cover it all over that Averland Sunset. It's a nice darker yellow. It gives it a nice coating. Then we're going to come in with the shade and go all over the entirety of that cloth sticking out, and it will blend together the brighter yellow and the darker tan and give it a really good weathered look overall. While we're waiting for that to dry, grab a brighter yellow like Uriel yellow, and just following the lines on the feather, just pick out the ones closer to the top. Leave the ones at the bottom dark just to give it some difference in contrast as it gets closer to the helmet, but just gentle little stripes all the way down to keep that texture of the feather itself. Make sure you get the sides. You could get the back and the underneath if you want, but no one's going to see that. And remember, we're not going for perfect, we're going for good enough. Then lastly, with some Flash Gets Yellow or some other really, really bright yellow, just get the very edges and tips of the feather to make it stick out a little bit more. Now, unfortunately, because of the lighting I have here, you can't really see it, but if you put Flash Gets Yellow on pretty much anything, it's going to stick out. You're going to see it. We'll head back down to the cloth, and we'll, again, using that Tzimisce Desert, we'll go back over the highlights again. And this time they won't be quite so stark. They'll blend in a little bit more because of the shade that we put on previously. Okay, so one of the last details is this severed hand. I really like painting rotten or zombie flesh starting off with a gray. Not super bright. We're not going for white, but not too dark, otherwise the effect won't work. But give it a good coat of something like administrative gray, and then pick a green. Bealtine green if you want a kind of mossy, brighter green. Camo shade if you want kind of a more rotten green. But you paint that shade over top of the flesh, and when it dries, it looks like gray, pale, rotting flesh. It's a very quick way to do lots and lots of zombies if you need to. And that's it. The whole thing took me less than a half an hour. The longest part was waiting for the shade to dry. And while he may not be non-metallic metal, I think he's good enough.